welcome to the Wizard's Workshop. I'm Bob Mark, and I'm filling in for Wade the Wizard. Tonight, I've got with us again, as a special guest, Mr. Kevin Clark, I'm sorry. I told you last time that I was going to call you Kevin Williams. He's part of the Kevin and Kevin show at our IBM Ring 36, but this is Kevin Clark, who's currently the president of IBM Ring 36, and I should probably explain the Freudian slip there because he followed Kevin Williams, who was our past president of IBM Ring 36 and was a guest 3 weeks ago on the show. So Kevin, welcome back again.
Thanks, Bob.
And I asked you to come back tonight and maybe show us a little bit of close-up magic. We touched on it the last time you were on the show and thought maybe we could show a little bit more tonight. Did you bring some with us that we could take a look at?
Yeah, I sure did. Well, getting close-up, there's an old magician, his name is Dai Vernon. He coined the phrase that cards is the poetry of magic. And he was a really clever close-up magician. In fact, they called him the professor of close-up magic,
That's right.
you know, because he was, you know, so fluent at close-up magic. Sure, let's show something with that poetry of magic, the cards. This I'll use a small number of cards. We'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4 aces. And if we can get a close-up shot here of the 4 aces. Can we get a close-up shot of the 4 aces, maybe? There we go. We have the ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of clubs, and the ace of diamonds. This is using 4 regular cards. These aren't the old gimmicked TV magic cards. And there's different ways you can turn over cards in a pack. You can turn them over sideways, or you can turn them over lengthwise, just like this. But see, if you just give them a twist, just like that, one card turns over in the pack, the ace of hearts. We'll do that again, just a twist of the cards. And this time it's the ace of spades that turns face up. Let me try that one more time. Just a twist. There's the ace of diamonds. And one last card, which should be the ace of clubs. Give it a twist. Well, sometimes you have to smack it like that. It turns over in the pack.
Oh, how about that? And what's that one called?
Twisting the Aces, and that's by Dai Vernon. He's
One of Dai Vernon's, huh?
one of Dai Vernon's creations, yeah.
Now, where do you learn how to do these tricks, say from Dai Vernon and some of the other greats?
From books, mainly.
Dai Vernon has several books out, I take it?
Yep, he has 3 or 4 books out and pamphlets out. And then he also has, there's also a course in magic. It's the Tarbell course in magic.
Yes.
And it's the definitive course in magic. It's like one of the first. It's an 8-book series. You also can buy, it was first put out, I think, in the early 60s or late 60s. And it takes you right through cards, coins, all the way to stage magic.
And I know the Tarbell, I've looked through it a couple times. I don't happen to own that set, but it's one of my goals is to end up with the Tarbell set. Is it pretty good on the explanations? Is there a lot of pictures, or is it primarily just text?
Well, it's an older series, and it's primarily, it's got both, you know, really good pictures and text, but it's mostly drawings. The pictures are drawings, they're not actual photographs, like in some of the modern books today where they use computer graphics to make the pictures, you know, enhance the hands to give it the detailed look.
Right.
And stuff like that. So it is a little bit more to work out of an old book like that than a new book of today of, you know, the actual picture of the hands and the actual where the finger's supposed to be for the sleight and things like that. But
Well, that's good. So it makes it easy to get you started in showing you how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I've got one. Let me show you.
Okay.
And it's called the Royal Marriage. And we'll switch over to the other camera here. And I like this one because it's a story trick, and I do a lot of story stuff with my magic and as we go along. But essentially, what I'm going to use is I've got 4 cards, and I'm going to use these 4 cards, and I'm going to tell you the story about a royal marriage that took place many, many centuries ago. Okay?
Okay.
And it goes something like this, that once upon a time, there was a king with black hair. And this king with black hair was courting a queen that also had black hair. And the king that had black hair also had a brother who was a twin that had black hair. And this brother was likewise dating a queen that had black hair. Now, as it would go back in those days, the two brothers would take their queens-to-be out to dinner at the local pub. And just as it happens now, they got to the pub, and the two queens had to go use the powder room. And while they were in the powder room, the first king with black hair happened to look over at the table directly to his right, and he noticed this lovely queen with red hair. And she kind of caught his eye, and she winked at him, and he took and winked back at her. Well, at the same time, his twin brother with the black hair looked over and saw that the first queen with the red hair had a twin sister with red hair, and she was there at the table also. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those two scoundrels, the two kings with the black hair, they ran off with those two red-headed queens, right? But no, that wasn't what happened, because the first queen with black hair, she was fortunate enough to marry the first king with the black hair. And it wasn't too long after that when the first king's twin brother was married to the second queen with black hair, and they lived happily ever after. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happened to those two poor queens with the red hair? Well, as luck would have it, the first queen with red hair managed to locate in another kingdom a king with red hair. And they got married. And her twin sister, the other queen with red hair, she managed in another kingdom to find a second king with red hair. And they all lived happily ever after. And that's called the royal marriage.
That's a good
And
thing.
again, it's done with 4 cards from a standard deck. And no gaffes required. And that's one that I'm not sure if it's in any of the Tarbell books. Bill Bell from, what's the name of his place down?
Home Plate
Home
Magic.
Plate Magic. Showed us at one of our IBM ring meetings.
Yeah.
And showed a bunch of us that trick, and I've been doing it ever since. And I'm not sure where he ever picked it up from. Have you got something else you could show us?
Sure. This is with coins. We use a small number of coins, 3 coins, and a cup, coffee cup. If you want to get a close-up shot of this again, it's 1, 2, 3 coins. There we go, 3 $half. And we'll take the first coin, and if I give it a squeeze just like that, see, it turns it to a copper coin. That's copper. We'll put that inside the cup. And the second coin, all what we have to do is just give that one a wave like that, and that changes it to copper. And we'll put that one in the cup. And the last coin, we give it a wave, that changes it to copper. We'll give it a wave again, that's to silver.
Whoa.
And if we take that silver coin, we can drop that into a cup, and we'll change the other 3 coins back to silver. There's
Whoa,
3
you
silver
placed
coins.
2 coppers and 1 silver, and you end up with 3 silvers, huh?
Yeah, yeah, they're just regular silver coins.
Huh. Now, I noticed that the coins that you're using, what are these, silver dollars?
Yep, they're the old silver dollars. They're the Benjamin half dollars.
And they seem to be awful shiny. Do you treat them with anything to say that? Would you put any...
No, not really. Just basically handling them a lot, you know, as you practice, which kind of shines them up. But the reason why magicians, sometimes you might see them use older coins, is because when you rub them together, they don't make as much noise as a new coin. I mean, these still need to be broken in, but that's when you don't want them to make a sound. You know, if you're trying to conceal 2 coins, and you don't need them to make a sound, it's better to use old worn coins than it would be to the
Because
newer
what happens
coins.
as you use them, you're actually wearing the imprint that's on the back of the coin. That gets wore down, and the coin becomes a lot smoother.
Right.
So it makes it easier to manipulate. And you'll notice that we're doing close-up magic and we're working on what is called a close-up pad. We talked about that the last time that Kevin was on the show with us, and there's several reasons why magicians use close-up pads when they're working this way. And one is, if we can come back to that close-up shot again of our coins, that it's a rubber pad, and because it's soft, by simply pushing on the back of the coin, lifts the front of that coin up. And it makes it easier to pick the coin up, again, quietly. If we were working on this table, you can't, pushing on that coin doesn't do it, and it makes it much tougher to pick it up. But if you keep it on the close-up pad, very little bit of pressure on the back, tilts the coin up, makes it real easy to pick up and manipulate and move it around. Close-up pad, you can buy them for $5 or $6 at any place that sells magic stuff, or any soft material would probably work. And they're also very handy for fanning out cards. If we want to take a deck of cards, and these are brand new cards, aren't they, Kevin?
Yep,
Because they are awful slippery. Later on, we'll show how to take care of that. But it makes it real easy. The cards will stick on that close-up pad, and it makes it easier to work with them than if you were working on the slippery table trying to get the cards to stick. So that's the close-up pad, and you'll see most magicians that do close-up work will work off of one of these pads, and that's the reason why.
Looks like a jumbo mouse pad.
Yeah, that's jumbo mouse pad for your computer. And actually, a computer mouse pad is the same principle, and that would work just fine. It's just a much smaller surface, but almost everybody has one of those at home, and so they could start working on that till they get a chance to get a regular close-up pad. And this particular close-up pad you saw had the designs on it. That's because we purchased it at the Abbott's get-together this past summer, and they had an artist there with an airbrush that would paint any design you wanted to on your close-up pad. So we had this one created for us. What else you got there to show us?
Oh, okay. If you want to go ahead and zoom in on this dollar bill, can you see this dollar bill here? Zoom in kind of slow. Okay, right there's good. It is a $1 bill. This is how magicians kind of, you've seen the old trick where, you know, George Washington, he's face up. If you give it a fold in half and a fold in half, it's like this, and another fold in half. This trick is in most children's magic books, if, you know, to turn him upside down, but this is more advanced magic, and you not just turn him upside down, but you change it into a $10 bill. See, that's how magicians can make money.
Yeah, that's how you get paid, right?
Yeah, but
so your $1 bill is now a $10 bill, huh?
yeah, but see, we always keep it concealed as a 1, so when we get mugged, you know, because we do live near Detroit. No, just kidding. But when we get mugged, we'll hear about that. Yeah, that you keep it concealed as a 1.
That's right.
But
And they think they're only getting a $1 bill from you, huh?
A $1
And they
bill,
never
yeah.
do find your 10.
No, that's
Now, I normally when I've seen that trick done, Kevin, it's they change a $1 bill into a $100 bill.
yeah. But well, you know, I'm a low budget magician,
Oh, okay.
so
All right. I just thought I would check with you on that.
yeah. Here's something else we can do with the $1 bill. See, go ahead and zoom back in. Can you see it there with George Washington? Zoom in closer. Can you see his picture on the monitor there?
Probably have
No.
to come in on
Doesn't matter. Either one.
Alan's camera and take a look at that.
Yeah,
There we
go ahead
are.
and zoom in on that camera right there. Focus up there. Focus,
There we
focus,
go.
focus. Okay, keep it there. Don't move the camera. Okay, right there. See George Washington? Can you see his eyes? His eyes kind of follow you around. Hold on just a second. Hold on right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture of George.
Well, you're marking right on your old dollar bill there, huh?
Yeah, that's defacing currency.
Something
adage.
tells me that you've done that a couple times before.
A few times. But go ahead and zoom in there on that shot. Can you see his face? Zoom in, focus up. Yes, no. Okay. Leave it right there. Can you focus? Okay. Actually,
Whoa.
see, George's got sunglasses on. It's from the summer heat. Actually, from the summer heat. And if you want, it's hard to see his eyes, but you can move his sunglasses up off his eyes so you can see his eyes. Pretty cool, huh?
So you can have him down on his nose or you can have him up on his forehead, huh?
Yeah, and it's on the dollar bill. I don't think you're getting it off.
No, I don't think we're going to get it off either.
But
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's your dollar you did that on and not mine.
Yeah, that's true. I'll just change it into a 10.
Tell you what,
Still
you've been
fun.
showing us stuff with small cards. I brought my made-for-TV deck with me. I don't think we need our cup here anymore.
Nope.
And it's made for TV just simply because it's a little bit bigger deck and makes it a little bit easier to see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to select a card. Any card, freely chosen by you. Go ahead, select a card. Oh, you don't want that one there?
No.
Go ahead, take a card.
We'll go ahead.
All right, and if you'd show that card to the camera, and so that everybody can see exactly what your card is.
Okay.
All right, does everybody know what the card is now?
Yep.
Okay, what I'm going to ask you to do is don't show the card to me. Go ahead, stick it right on top of the deck here. If we can get the camera so we can see that we put your card right on top of the deck.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick it up and show it to him again to make sure. There it is. That's the card you had.
Yep.
All right, there it is. Now, my job, as complicated as it may seem, is going to be to get your card out of this deck. But I'm not going to do it in the ordinary way, where I rifle through all these cards and find it. Instead, I think what I'll do is simply hold the deck right here toward the camera, and if you'll call your card out, just go ahead. What was your card?
The 2 of hearts.
Go ahead. Maybe you got to call it a little bit louder.
2 of hearts?
Are you sure it was the 2 of hearts?
Yep.
Now, I want you to think about it, and I want you to concentrate really hard.
Okay.
Okay? What color is the 2 of hearts?
Red.
Okay, so call out red 2 of hearts, because these cards sometimes just aren't sure which one you're calling.
Red, 2 of hearts.
Whoop, whoop.
Huh?
How about that? See? You
That's
just had to
good,
remind
yeah.
it as to what color it was really supposed to be. Now, is that your 2 of hearts?
That's it. That's mine.
Okay,
That's
all right.
good.
That's
really
called
good.
the rising card trick.
I like that one.
All right.
That is good.
Now, did you bring anything else with us that you might be able to show us? Another card trick, maybe?
Not really card trick, but I imagine we can go through some manipulations or
Oh,
things
yeah.
that you might learn from a book. Like most of you learn this one as you're playing poker with mom and dad, is the one-handed cut. That's
That's called the Charlet cut?
Charlet cut. This one's by Paul Harris. This one's a butterfly cut, so you cut it like this and give it a cut down. The 2 halves here.
Whoops, there we are.
Okay.
Why don't you do that again, because we were kind of off camera, I think, a little bit there.
Okay. This is a Charlet cut where
So you do that with 2 hands.
2 hands.
You separate it over.
Separate it over. It's the more
That
complicated
mixes
cut.
it up
That
good. Why don't you, while you got the camera right there in your hand, show them the Charlet cut, how you do that, because that's one that they could start practicing on if they want to start learning card manipulation.
Charlet cut. You want to hold the cards up at your fingertips, like that. Thumb on the one side, and you hold your pinky on the back side. I usually do, and then hold your index finger on this side, and that keeps the deck square.
Yep.
And then, is what you're going to do is with your thumb, let a portion of the pack fall, at least
Approximately
half of it.
half of it, yeah.
Half of it, and then take your index finger and push up on it till it meets your thumb, and then let the other half fall down to complete the cut.
Okay.
That's the Charlet cut.
Now, they shouldn't get discouraged when they start this, because that is although you make it look very simple, until your fingers are stretched out in your hands and you're used to doing it, I've dropped a lot of cards on the floor.
Right.
It's very complicated to start getting the feel for that as you go through. Now, probably another thing that we should show them at home that would be a little help to get started is, now Kevin's been using a brand new deck of cards, but typically what we will do with the deck of cards in order to get them ready to be used is something that is described in the Kevin McBride tapes, which is a series of 3 videotapes on card manipulation, and it's called Preparing a Deck for Manipulation. And it's nothing more than taking an ordinary ruler. I happen to use one that's got a plastic edge. You could use a wooden ruler or a metal ruler. And taking each card in the deck from a brand new deck and taking the edge of the ruler, and it's best to do this on a hard surface, not on a close-up pad, and simply pulling the card through, which will make it curl up. And then you turn the card, grab the other end, and you pull it through again. Then you grab a corner and you pull it through diagonally. Rotate it again, grab the opposite corner, pull it through diagonally again. Then you turn the card over, and you run it through that way. You turn it around, and you run it through again, and then you do diagonally. So we've run it through the ruler 8 times. And what you'll end up with, of course, is a card that looks real curly, but it's also a lot more flexible than it was when you started. Now, trust me, it takes a long time to do an entire deck of cards. You probably will not be able to do a whole deck in one night because you're going to get a blister on your fingers or your hands are going to get extremely sore. So do a few of them at a time until you get a whole deck done. Then what you're going to want to do is make a card press. Now, I didn't bring one with me tonight, but it's nothing more than 2 pieces of plywood with a bolt run through each end and a wing nut so that you can tighten it down. You can put all your cards between these 2 pieces of plywood and tighten them down, and you leave them that way for 24 hours, and it'll flatten them back out. And when you're all done, you'll have a deck of cards that are very flexible and will make it a lot easier to work with and fan and do some of the other stuff that you might want to do with it. And then the next thing you can do is if you want to get into doing fans, where you fan cards out. I'm not very good at fanning. Kevin, can you show them what a fan would look like? I think we got this camera right here is on, so could you do a fan for them there?
Sure.
There you go.
A fan with one hand, or you could do. Let's see. You have the deck where you can do the fan with this hand, a fan with this hand, and it's called the S fan. That's a couple
Now,
of
to
fans.
do those fans, especially, let me see your cards if I could for just a minute there. If you want to do the first fan that Kevin did where he spun it out, you'll see in some of the books they talk about fanning powder. To put some fanning powder on your cards makes it a little bit easier to work with them. And there's a couple of ways of doing that. I don't think normal talcum powder works. Fanning powder is pretty inexpensive to buy from most magic supply houses. And the easiest way probably to do it is to put a little bit of fanning powder in a baggie, a large 2-quart size baggie, and ziplock it shut, and then just shake it up. Shake
Or
the
another
cards
way
up.
is a garbage bag too. A garbage bag
that's right.
works
Garbage
nice,
bag
like
will
a
work good,
kitchen-sized
too.
garbage bag. And another thing besides the ruler is a pencil. If you
Yes.
take a pencil and do it the same way, where you'd roll it one way and roll it the other way, and basically, as Bob says, you're doing is you're breaking the surface of the card to make it more flexible. It would make a regular deck about half the size, so you'd be able to conceal a deck. And card manipulation, other than regular card tricks, is the one where the magician's up on stage and he's pulling cards out of thin air or doing, different kinds of flourishes. Another thing too is Bob's tacky finger that you'd use at. Where'd you get that, Bob?
I got this at any office supply house. If you go to the area where they have the little rubber fingertips for counting money and stuff, people use them in offices when they're counting papers, and it's just a little waxy substance, and you just rub a little bit of that on your fingers, and it makes it a little bit easier to handle the cards. You just rub it in real good, gets rid of some of the oil that you've got on your hands. But again, you buy this at any office supply store. This particular brand is called Tacky Finger. And it's real easy to find.
You could do different card flourishes, like maybe make cards fly come out of the deck like that into a hat, where you'd
And that's a lot easier to do if you got the tacky finger on your thumb.
Yep, it sure is. A lot easier.
And another trick that you'll learn, again, if you've come to any of our meetings, some of the older members, more experienced members, excuse me, will give you some other tips. One that I found real handy is the little rubber fingertip that they used to use in banks for counting money. And again, you can get those in office supplies anywhere. They'll help you get started. You put them on your thumb, and if you want to start learning how to flip the cards, makes it a little bit easier to do. And then once you get the movements down, you start taking that off, and you can do it just with a little bit of tacky finger on your finger as you go through. But that's some of the stuff that you might want to do to a deck of cards so that you can start doing some of the manipulations when you start reading in the books. And they'll talk about fanning. Most of the books do not tell you to fix your cards this way. They just tell you to grab a deck of cards and to hold them between your thumb and your index finger and apply some pressure and start turning it. And it's very frustrating if you've opened a brand new deck of cards and you're just trying to learn and you start trying to do that and you got cards going all over the house.
Right.
And but a couple of these little tricks, like breaking the cards in will make it a whole lot easier, especially if you're a younger person and you got small hands. Well, Kevin, let's take just a minute. We're going to break away to the Kids Corner here because I think Larry Mark and Matt Campbell, two young members from a club, are ready to show us something. So here's Kids Corner.
Welcome to Kids Corner. We won't only show you the trick, but we will teach you how to do them so you can amaze your friends at home. I have here again this week Matt Campbell. Matt, you have a trick this week to show them?
Yes, I do. This is cut and restore string through straw, and about the middle, fold the straw, take scissors, and finish off cutting. And there, the straw is cut, but the string is still whole. Now that is done by just taking a straw and coming in the back and just simply cutting about a 3-inch slot back there, and then take the string and thread it through the straw and bring it about halfway, and then fold it right in the middle, and then when you bring your hand down, just tug a little bit so that you have some room right there to cut.
Now you open up for them so they can see that the string is right here, not inside the straw. And
And
cut
just
that. Make sure you don't get the string in there.
cut right above the string, like that, and pull it back like so it looks like you went right through the string, and then you can just take the straw back off.
Thank you, Matt. Join us in next week when I hope you'll have Matt back. Will you come back?
Sure.
Join us in next week when we'll show you another trick so you can amaze your friends at home.
That was Larry Mark and Matt Campbell, and again, they are members of Ring 36 right here in Flint, Michigan, and they both attend almost every single monthly meeting that we have. And we're going to have coming up here on the screen in just a second a name and address. In fact, it's Kevin's name and address that if you'd like to write to that, we'd be more than happy to put you on our mailing list so that you could get our monthly newsletter. It'll keep you up to date on when our next meeting is, and also any other magic happenings that are taking place. For example, I believe in November there's going to be a show right here in the Flint area, right?
Yep, we're going to try to get a show this November, and then in October we're also going to have a contest. I think you're going to have
right.
a contest.
Yep. We're going to have a contest on the show during the month of October where somebody's going to have a chance to win a free magic show at their birthday party. So you'll want to tune in to our shows in October when we'll provide you with more details on that. And November 9th, I believe, is when we're going to have the show, the annual show this year.
Right.
And it'll feature several magicians from Ring 36 right here in Flint, Michigan. It'll be a full stage show and be an excellent opportunity if you've never seen a complete magic show with several magicians. This will be your opportunity to see one live right here in Flint. And again, I'd like to thank Kevin for coming. We didn't get through all the stuff we wanted to go. Could I show tonight? Could I ask you to come back next week and
Sure.
we'll continue with this and maybe show them a little bit more close-up stuff?
Sure, we sure can.
Okay, good. So make sure you tune in next week so you can see our next episode of The Wizard's Workshop. And until then, keep practicing. Good.